Hello guys. Okay, this will be a continuation of the previous video, no crank no start situation. In the first video we um we diagnosed a broken fuse in the engine compartment. We fixed it, and then we had this light. Initially we didn't have this light, but this light is very important to tell you that you have power to the ECM or ECU, whatever you want to call it, power control module, whatever, powertrain control module, whatever. But that's the light there to tell you that there's power to it. So if you have this and the car kicks, it should start. So we are going to we are going to we are going to take this as a different video of dealing with a crank no start. So the different troubleshooting steps to take if you have this model of Sienna and you're getting a no crank no start situation. All right, okay, so go to the engine compartment and check out some things, take some steps. Now I'm teaching you how to do this even without a multimeter. Ideally you would need a multimeter and carry out some checks, but if you can go fast, you're in an emergency situation, you don't have those things with you, this is what you can do. You may need a little wire to do, and good enough I have one here, just short one like this, very handy. It comes out very handy. You should have a longer one too, but let's go to the compartment. Let's see what we can do. Okay, we've opened the fuse box, and here we have a relay, ST relay. That means the starter relay. So we are going to try to start it directly, jump start it, send current directly to the Kickstarter. We want to go straight to the point and know if the Kickstarter is having a problem. We've simulated that we don't have a multimeter now, so we don't want to we want to quickly go and check some certain steps. Okay, so here we go. All right, now we have the relay out of this place. Now how do you know which is which? Now you see this smaller terminals, these ones are this is for the power supply for the relay. You don't want to play around with this one because one of them has a negative and the other one has a positive. So you rather go to the one that has a bigger terminal. You see the color of this terminal is it's different and it's bigger, it means it carries more current. So that's where you would go. Now, which one of these cables come from the positive terminal through a fuse, and then the other one goes directly to the Kickstarter. So the car sends a signal to this relay, the relay comes on, and then it sends current directly to the Kickstarter, and that's how it starts. So we want to go directly to the Kickstarter and see if it's working. Now see this terminal over here. This terminal is the positive supply for the fuse box. It comes from the alternator. So on a normal circumstance you should have positive. If you don't have a long enough wire like me to get from the battery positive terminal, you go from here. So we go from here, and then once you touch any of these two here, either this or this, you should hear the kick run. If you don't hear the kick run, I'll tell you what to do. So we try this one, nothing. Or we try this one. Oh, good. So this is the positive terminal, this is this, and you could hear the car kick. Now if you hear it kick that way, it tells you that your battery is a bit low, you need to charge it, or you need to replace your battery or get a jump start or something, right? Now if you don't hear any sound, it could be one or two things. The first one would be, okay, three things. The first one is you're not getting any positive here, any positive connection here, which means a bigger electrical issue which needs to be traced. Or your battery is low, too low that it can't start. But usually you would notice that when you put on the ignition, because the ignition light will be low. And then the third one is you have a problem with the kick. So in that case, you need a new battery to check. Get a longer cable to test from here to here. And then if you still, from here to here rather, and then if you're still having the same problem, then you have to investigate the kick. Okay, so Now we've established that our kick is okay. We have power supply, but we are not getting signal over here. So what do? We want to start it, try and start it and see if it's going to revolve and it's going to crank and start. So let's start it from there. If again you're in an emergency situation and you don't know what to do, this will be how to start it. After you'd establish that you have power in the what's it called, instrument cluster on the ECM, like I showed you before on the previous video. So we would go back inside, put on the ignition and come right out and try to start it. Okay, no start. Okay, pause. Okay, in this case the battery is too low to start the the car, so we're going to get another battery and come right back. Okay, now we have a better battery. We want to start it. um, we want to start it just from here. Now another way to do it is to, because we need to test if we have power here, so we can jump this and see. Unfortunately this cable cannot go right inside here, so but if you have a cable that doesn't have this kind of end, you can just jump this. Pause. Right, if you have a jumper cable like this, you can just jump it and see. 1 2 3 start. There, the engine is started. Okay, so by doing that, we've eliminated the possibility of not having current here. So we have a current here, the Kickstarter is working, the engine is running fine, everything is good. Okay, so that's how to check. So we've tested the Kickstarter without even getting to the Kickstarter and checking all that stuff. But if you have a good battery, you do this, it doesn't work, and then you send current from here. I'm not going to touch it, but from here to here. Okay, we're going to start it the other way. So if you jump it here and it does not start, then we want to get power directly from here and see if it starts. So it starts. I want to start it again so that we know it starts. So yeah, that will be to eliminate that. And if that does not work, then you get current directly from here with a longer cable with the positive end, you know, to the positive end of the battery. And then if that does not work, then you need to start checking other things. For the example, the ground, see whether the Kickstarter is properly connected. You actually have to bench test. There are other videos about how to bench test the Kickstarter and all that. You may have to bring out the Kickstarter and check it if you are sure your battery is solid. If your battery is not solid, you need to do something else. Okay, so you also need to check your relay if you have a problem with the relay. And one easy way to check the relay would be anyway, I'll refer you to other videos as well, how to test relays, bench test relays. Normally this is just a switch that sends a signal from here to here. So you would maybe get a bulb connected, one end connected here and the other end connected here, and then this other end will be connected to the negative terminal, and then power positive and negative to the relay. It doesn't matter which way you do it. Some of them really have the diode inside, so it actually matters. But you connect it and then see if the bulb lights up, then you know the relay is working. Alternatively, you can just take another relay from another place and just come to test, because all the relays cannot be bad at the same time. Okay, so if you get to this point where you've verified the battery, you verified the Kickstarter, the next thing you want to check is you want to verify that you are receiving signal from you're receiving signal to the relay. And first of all, another way to test the relay, if the relay is working, is by you can test the relay if it's working. We are going to shut down the engine and test the relay, show you how to test the relay even without any cables, just with this cable, and then we'll see. Good. All right, again, the ignition, I put on the ignition on, so if the kick runs, the engine will start. Now to test the relay, I've already discovered that this is the positive supply and this is the negative supply for this relay. So you just put this end of this wire in here and then put the relay back in here, right? So we've put that. Now to check if the relay is working again, you send the positive signal, which is the 12 volts, down here, and it should start. If it does not start, then it means the relay has a problem. So the relay is okay. I don't want to start it because of the noise and all that. So the relay is okay. So we've tested this relay. The relay is good. It sends signal to the Kickstarter. So the next bit we need to check is we now have a problem from the signal. Okay. So the next bit to check. Anyway, up until this time, I've shown you how to get out of an emergency situation. It refuses to start. You have to check the fuse for this one. You also need to check, that's for the EFI 1. You also need to check the fuse for EFI 2, and you have to check the ECUB. Okay, they have different symptoms, but just check this main fuses: 1, 2, 3. And then you also need to check this fuse INJ. Now INJ fuse is this 10 amps fuse right here. Okay, this fuse controls flow to the injector. Okay, so if you have that fuse burnt, you need to replace it. Okay, but you also need to figure out why the fuse is getting burnt every time, but that's for a different video. But just so you know, if all these fuses are okay, this one, and this one, then you need to check this one. And if this one is bad, there's another video for it. We may not have it in the description, but just check out another video. Just look out for another video. Will tell you what to do when you have this fuse always blowing up on you. So we will go to the next stage of our investigation. Now we figured out how to start the car. You can drive the car out of the place where you have this thing, if you have a problem. If you have a problem, you can drive out to a shop and let them have it checked and all that. But if you want to go ahead, then continue with the video. Okay, we are back inside the car, and you will notice this time around I'm not on the driver's side. We'll try it again, just for good measure, just to see if it's gonna start. Click, click, click. No start. No crank. Actually, no crank, of obviously no start. But we figured out that there's nothing wrong with the engine system. As long as the engine can run, the engine will start. So what we need to do now is to check why we are not getting a signal. So there's a circuit diagram I found online about this, and I would see what I can do to show you how it works. But I'll just go straight to the point and show you how I got to where I got to now, just in case your own situation is a little bit different. You'd know exactly what to do. But here, this is the ignition switch. So ignition 2, start, no start. So I put this off. I'm now on the passenger side. I checked all these fuses anyway. The fuse is right under this place, but I couldn't find anything there. All the fuses there were okay. So what you do, you open this place. Different people call it different names, but from the video you know what I'm talking about. On the passenger side, some people call it the pigeonhole, some people call it the glove compartment, some people call it whatever. I'm not ready to go into that now, but here we are. This is where you have the ECM, and if you notice, you have some fuses here. This fuses, right? So what we are interested in is this fuse, because this is the fuse that's responsible for sending the start signal. Okay, now another thing you would when we look at the circuit diagram, we would go through it in steps, and there are different ways to check if your gear lever is not in park or in neutral. It's not going to start. And in my own case, I already put it in park and it didn't start. So but you check this fuse. If this fuse is okay, then we need to look at the park neutral. They call it park neutral switch. That park neutral switch stops the start signal to the starter. Okay, but now you know exactly how to bypass that, and then later on I'll show you how to figure it out, or how to change the park neutral switch if that's where the problem is. But before you go there, it usually doesn't have that problem. Before you go there, you check this fuse. So I'll just quickly bring this fuse out and then we'll analyze it. Okay, the fuse is out. I don't know if you can see it. Similar to the other fuse, uh, the circuit inside is not, the fuse is bad. How can you tell? All you need to do is look at it. Uh, Look, take it to a source of light and look at it so you can see through it. I'm sure you can see that there is no wire going through, no connection going through it. So you can see there's a broken, it's broken, the fuse is broken inside. You can see that. You can use a multimeter to just verify it, but I know that this fuse is gone. Now let's compare it with a good known fuse, and you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but this fuse, oh, this fuse is blown too. This fuse is bad. You can see this fuse is bad. Oh, this is a 7.5. This fuse is also bad. Both fuses are blown. So let's get a good known fuse and replace it with it. Be right back. Okay, here you have a good fuse. I don't know if you can see it. You can see the fuse. You can see the line joins together from one end to the other. So the fuse is okay. This fuse is okay. So we'll put it here and see what happens next. Let's see. I wish you can see. I hope you can see what I'm doing. That's it. Up here. That's the fuse over here. So that's the highest fuse just before this black cable here. The highest fuse just before the black cable. And let's see if it works. Okay, we just fixed the fuse. Time to put it on. 2, 3, start. There we go. The signal has come up and everything is okay. So if you have a problem with no signal going to the kick, you just hear a click from inside here, not from the outside, then this is exactly what you need to do. Now in the event that you check this fuse and this fuse is okay, or maybe you're not sure if it's okay, I suggest you change it with a known working fuse with another 7.5 amps somewhere that is not relevant to the running of the car. It's not an ECU and all that. You check it and be sure, and then if it does not work, then you need to check the park neutral switch. I'll switch off the car now and show you where the park neutral switch is, so loosening it might just not be too difficult. The park neutral switch is down here. I don't know if you can see it. I'll just take this off. Ooh. Okay, the park neutral switch will be right inside here, but it will be difficult to miss. You follow this line, this is the transmission shifter, and then it takes you directly to the PNP switch. This is it here. You have to loosen it and bring it out. You have to loosen this and loosen that and bring it out. But that's if it's in the event that you have a problem with you don't have in spite of that that fuse we just changed, the 7.5 amps, you just change inside, it doesn't work, then you verify that the car starts from here, from the starter relay. You've tested the relay is okay, and you check that fuse, and that fuse is the fuse is good. Then you need to check the PNP. Now if you check the PNP or you test the PNP, it's okay, then you need to take it to someone who can scan it, because I have a scanner that can tell me the condition of the PNP switch. So that's how I verify the PNP switch without loosening it and sending it out. So that's about it. So the next bit will be to show you the circuit diagram and to show you how to read it and how to follow it systematically, and how I did systematically. Okay, here we have the schematic for the start signal for the '08 Toyota Sienna. So I'll just quickly go through it and the flow process. I just gone on Google and I found it on Google. So here we are. um Here you have the battery. This is the battery. This is the positive terminal that goes from the battery directly to the to the the this is the starter motor. The starter motor is connected to the ground, and it has a connection going to that relay I showed you. So what we did, here you have a fuse. So if you have a power supply, so um over here, let's zoom in a bit so we can see. Good. Over here from the battery you have a main fuse. This fuse actually rarely has a problem, but you can trace back. If you First of all, you have to jump these two cables, the cables I showed you um, when I carried a small jumper. This was the number 3 and number 5 and number 3. Number 5 has power supply from the battery, or should have power supply from the battery, and number 3 goes to the starter motor. So first of all, you test the starter motor with a good known battery. Battery is working. If you supply the positive and jump this whole relay, you should have the starter motor running. So once you confirm that, you have to jump this cable. Forget about the signal coming from the ECM and all. Jump this cable, and if you have power, if you have the starter motor running, then if you jump this and you have the starter motor running, then it tells you that this whole line from here to here are all okay. So the next bit you need to do is this is the relay, the starter relay. All right, we'll go straight to the diagram. Apparently my tab has a mind of its own, so we go straight. This is the relay for the starter motor. So you have the ground already connected here to the ground side of the battery, and here you have it connected to the relay. So all you need to do is to send a positive signal, which actually, if you trace it, is still the same signal that comes from all the side up here through this fuse back here and all the way down here. So when you send a signal to this number 1, if you have this, if the starter motor runs, then you're good. You know the relay is okay down to the motor and the battery, so you've eliminated that. The next bit you'd come here to this PNP, park neutral position switch, right? And this is the park neutral position switch over here. All you need to do is to put it in park and neutral, and then try to start it. If it doesn't start, the most likely problem will be this fuse, which is the fuse I showed you on the passenger side, front passenger side. So if this fuse is found to be okay, this is the ignition switch where you have the key. This area may have a problem, but unlikely. But first of all, you need to follow the line from here, number 4, and follow the AM2. Now the AM2 fuse is located in the under the driver's seat. If you follow the fuse box, I think I will show you that. Let's see. Over here, there you see, they show you the AM1 fuse is under here, and I think the AM2 fuse, yeah, the AM2 fuse is right here in the driver's compartment. Sorry, in the engine compartment. So you need to check if that fuse, those fuses, AM1 and AM2, they rarely go bad. Okay, but the one that concerns you the most, if you have a no start situation, is this AM2 fuse. So you need to trace down and find. If you find a positive, an easy way to find test it would be, and this time you would need a multimeter. This time you need a multimeter because you are tracing for voltage now, because it become more serious. But you have to check all these fuses. AM2 fuse. If the AM2 fuse is okay, and you have tested this section and this section is okay, there are two possibilities. You either have a problem with the ignition key, or you have a problem with this one. Okay, so what I would do is I would see if I could send a signal to verify this one. Again, the idea behind this video is to do it without the multimeter. If you get a multimeter, it's easy for you, but if you don't have a multimeter and you still want to do it, then I will send a positive signal to this one, either this side or this side. And if we have a start, then it verifies that this is okay. And if we agree that this fuse is okay, if we verify that this fuse is okay, then we can only zero it down to a problem somewhere here. Okay, so we'd also check the fuse from the AM fuse, AM2 fuse. If the AM2 fuse is okay, then we've zeroed it down to this one, and then we know that we need to replace this one. So that's it. The video is a bit long, but I'm sure it's worth it. Thank you for watching. Bye.